What are we talking about tonight? Oh, 1099 and
1099 and subcontractors
and
all that kind of stuff. Michael, I want to know what Michael's talking about. Oh, look, an 800.
Oh, you haven't seen that?
No, what's happening?
Oh my God, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So out of Charleston, out of the Marine base up in Charleston, an $80 million F-35, I think it was an F-35, the new stealth fighters that we have, we're already like, there's all kind of problems with the contract because the cost overruns are ridiculous. Well, there were two of them flying in tandem, and one of them has an error and the pilot ejects. There's something that it says like fly on zombie mode they talk about. And so this thing is basically undetectable, right? So pilot ejects, they have no idea where the freaking plane is. They have no idea, or at least that's the story that we're getting in America. Honestly, Biden may have sold the Chinese. This could have been part of that $6 billion Iran deal.
I'll tell you what, that's a conversation for a whole nother day, but man, the way we blow through money, I'd swear it was, I don't even know. Yeah, we'll have to be like, that's not, I'm just trying to avoid that conversation, I think.
Here's another one I got for you. So, so
Mitch says they found the wreckage of it.
Yeah, all right. So here's a good one. So, I just want to say, get all of our early hellos out there. How about this one? I don't know. I don't know if you pay as much attention to the news as
I really have quit watching the news. It's probably been 4 or 5 years now. I
envy you.
Yeah.
Here's a good one. So, did you hear about the Lauren Boebert thing?
No idea what that is.
Okay, so you know who Lauren Boebert is? She's a firebrand Republican, I think, out of Wyoming, Colorado. Just kind of, well. So she got thrown out of a theater because she was vaping, and apparently, she and her beau were acting poorly. But she's a United States representative. She's one of the darlings of the conservative movement. She got thrown out because she was vaping during the performance, and apparently she may have flicked the usher off. Whenever they kicked her out. She probably had a couple of drinks in her and acted very poorly. Well, now within 48 hours of this happening, they actually have cameras. Hold on. Jeffrey Epstein has flown into international airports on his private jet. International airports have cameras. We can't get passenger manifests or even video of who's coming on or off of his airplane when they land at international airports, U.S. Virgin Islands, or who loads up on the Lolita Express, in D.C. We can't see a video of his highly secure jail cell where he hung himself, supposedly, under maximum security. We can't figure out who dropped a bag of cocaine in the White House, which I'm going to assume, maybe this is a wrong assumption, but I would assume, I haven't seen the world's cutest grandson, by the way. I gotta.
Wow.
Have you seen my
your flute? This morning in there somewhere. Can I have a hug, by the way? I didn't get a hug earlier. I love you. I love you so much.
Hey, Mr. Finn.
Hi.
Say hey to Doug and half the world. Anyway, where was that? Who was? So I'm assuming every square inch of the White House is covered by cameras.
You assume so?
I would assume.
That would make sense, right?
We can't figure out,
other than the Oval Office where no sexual things happen.
Right. I'm gonna go with this. I'm not gonna incriminate myself. I was born in 1970. I grew up in the 80s. I may have lost a bag of Coke or so in my life. But I get it. I understand. But whenever you're in the most secure building in the freaking Western Hemisphere, But there's no video of that. There's no video evidence of that, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well,
but at the same time, within 48 hours, we can get a dark, what do you call it? Whenever everything's dark, but ultraviolet, you know, the video where you can see in the dark. What am I saying?
Somebody's going to pop up and say it.
Like with the scope.
Not infrared. Yeah.
Infrared.
Infrared.
Yeah. You can see that. Of Lauren Boebert getting her breast fondled in theater within 48 hours after it happens, you realize we're only seeing what they want us to see at this point. Y'all understand that.
No conspiracy theory going on here or nothing. But
yeah. Night vision, infrared, yes. Infrared, yes. Thermal, anything like that. Yeah. But there's pictures of Lauren Boebert getting her breast. Exactly. She's beautiful. Don't get me wrong. I mean, she's But
we can't see who dropped their cocaine in
the White House.
Yeah. No, I get it. It is so hotter wit. Anyhow.
Well, it's like I heard a comedian say once, I used to have a cocaine problem, but I moved to Florida, $40 a gram, no more problem.
Yeah. I used to have I thought the saying was I used to have a cocaine problem, then I got a better job. Anyhow. So that's
another one. Yes, exactly.
That's not what we're here to talk about.
Let's assume the Capitol has a security camera or two. We can't figure out who that guy's name that keeps getting brought up as one of the red flags of that, And we can't find anything about him, the guy that people keep bringing up, Yeah. And Capitol is one of the most secure places in the world, but we can't see any security footage about,
Well, and I know we're completely off topic here, but I mean, I saw some of the footage and all that kind of stuff. And, just like what was being said there, back in the 80s, there'd have been a gun going off and people would have scattered.
Right.
Now, it's funny because we're no longer worried about hurting them with bullets. We're worried about hurting people with words.
With feelings?
It's like, oh, well, we can't do that because it might hurt their feelings. We can't say that because it might hurt their feelings. We can't, I mean, I could get into things that would probably get me in trouble with other people here, but I don't really care. It's the same thing with the whole Christopher Schur case. I mean, hey, I'm sorry, but Christopher Schur just needs to be let go.
I want to bite my lip. You know what? I'm actually not going to bite my lip because, like I said, you and I both had a couple drinks beforehand, and it's been a Monday.
It's been a Monday.
Let me put it like this. So
Scott's always got hurt feelings, by the way.
Yeah. I want to say that, like, if I look at a never mind. I'm not going to go there. Because this
Hey there, hi there, ho there out in Spray Wash land.
Hey, welcome.
welcome to the Big Blue House. I know we're 10 minutes into it. We haven't talked about 1099s or subcontractors yet. But that's the road we're going to go down today. And before we do, just a quick reminder that this is not legal advice, tax advice, or what's the other one? White House, white stuff advice. Anyway, sure. So we've been being asked for quite some time to talk about 1099 and employees and all that kind of stuff. So we wanted to make sure we kind of brought this out and talked a little bit about it. So the biggest thing is, and I know somebody just said that they're getting ready to hire their first 1099 employee. I think that was what was said up above. And the biggest thing that you're absolutely not hiring a 1099 employee. That That's like an oxymoron.
It is.
They're two separate, complete, and distinct things. You're either an employee or you're not an employee. So
Right.
you can be a 1099 subcontractor, 1099 contractor. You could be a self-employed contractor. You could be, all those things. And it's common for us to say a 1099 employee, but you're not a 1099 employee.
Yeah.
You could be a 1099 contract worker.
Subcontractor.
Subcontractor, worker, those kind. But there are a lot of things that fall into place in that. And a lot of people use the 1099 as a way of trying to get around stuff.
Right.
And all it's going to take is one quick audit, one quick question, and you're going to get blasted on that. Because if you control any part of what they do, how they do, why they do, they can become an employee very, very quickly. If you tell them, hey, you got to be at this job for 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, they're an employee.
Yeah, true. Hold on. I want to get back. I gotta say, okay. So you ain't kidding, Ryan. Oh, that's geez. Some days you're the bug.
Congratulations again to Ryan on winning that drone, by the way.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's
awesome.
That's what was that? $60,000 drone that he won.
He won. I think he got the 40,000. Well, actually, it's
40. Only 40,000. Wow.
Yeah. It was only 40 grand.
That's
yeah.
I don't know what that's. So somebody must be commenting on a comment that we can't see. Say it.
Backwards toilet guy. Don't say my real name though.
So obviously we can't see what that is. Josh, by the way, your thing went out today. I hope you got the email with the shipping tracking on there. And I know I got so busy, I literally could not call you. I mean, that was that. Okay. Can you contract a W-2 or 1099 employee if they don't complete the wash season?
They are penalized. Can you contract a W-2 or 1099 employee that if they don't complete, okay, I see where he's going. Can you basically state that if you don't finish the wash season, that they're penalized somehow? Employee contract agreement. I heard through the grapevine other companies do this to help prevent turnover. So that is one of the, look, this is actually a great point between 1099 and employee, right?
Right.
An employee must earn his wage, period, right? A subcontractor can be penalized if they do something depending on the contract that you have, if you have a contract, but you have to have a contract, right? It's the same thing with, well, here would be one example. And again, not legal advice, tax advice. I'm going to go.
Yeah, I was about to say, let's give that disclaimer again, even though I put it in the description of this. We are not lawyers, CPAs, tax advisors, accountants, anything like that.
But let's go this direction. If, for example, right, you are a 1099, you have somebody that you hire as a 1099 and they do not provide you the proper paperwork, you can then withhold the taxes that they're supposed to pay. Okay. I don't want to get into all that. I don't know how to do all that. I'm not, so there are things that can be done. And if you contract them to do a wash job and they don't do it, or they don't do it correctly, it's the same as you being hired and not doing a job correctly and not getting paid for that job. It becomes a legal matter at that point. If you say, I'm not paying you because you didn't do a good job, then it's different with an employee, because the employee still by law has to get paid. The other way, it becomes a legal battle into the legal system. Somebody has to sue somebody, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Does that answer the question? I hope. So if it's an employee, no, you can't do
But
that.
at the same time, I mean, you and I both know of, and you'll know what I'm talking about. It's actually both parties are friends of ours, where there was an issue that somebody said, yeah, I'm going to, the saying that good fences make good neighbors.
Yeah, yeah.
And there was
taller fences make better neighbors.
Yep. There was a deal that we had in our industry probably 5-6 years ago, with somebody that we know, and another person that we know said, "Hey, I'm going to pay you $1,800 to go wash a hotel or something up in West Virginia or Kentucky or someplace, one of those places up there." And then the person didn't wash it either fast enough or up to the other person's specifications. And he only wound up getting $5,000 for it. And the person was really
Not happy.
and was expecting that 18,000 or whatever it was. And, but what do you wind up doing? Because neither one of the guys had actually, all they had was a verbal, he said, he said, he said, he said. And guys, I'm going to tell you what, pressure washers are some of the worst about, oh, I'll do this for you for this. Y'all don't get anything in writing. I hear stuff at least weekly where some DA says, well, I told this guy this, and I told this guy this. And I'm like, well, did y'all ever have an email or a text? Well, no, we talked about it. And I say DA, meaning dumbass. And this is the there actually is servant. There is, and you should talk to a specific tax attorney or an accountant to find out that amount. But there is an absolutely set in stone amount that you can pay your children and put that in an account for them.
So, somebody just talked about this recently, and it was Shaquille O'Neal, the big Shaq, right? Shaq was, I saw an interview with him not too long ago, and it may have been an older interview. I'm not really sure. But he's like, I have my mom on payroll, my dad on payroll, my kids on, all this kind of stuff. He's like, yeah, absolutely. He runs as tight as he can to the line of making sure that, he pays out the least amount of taxes and supports his family and all that kind of stuff. So there are ways of doing things. And, that's where a good tax advisor is definitely going to be able to help you out.
I would really recommend, I think they just recently changed their name, but Blue Sky Employment, Blue Sky Temp, Dan Plata, and who's Dan's partner, the guy that's actually as old as us.
Is his memory any better than ours?
No, probably not. Those two guys, Sean Day,
yeah.
This is who y'all should reach out to on this, because they're the ones that do the Blue Sky Employment and the recruiting. They can help. We want to talk about it because I don't know if those two guys were actually done what we did as far as owning pressure washing companies and subcontracting out people. But I know they do employment, but that's who we should have actually had on. Maybe we
should
hook up with them tonight. It just hit me. We've actually been on their shows before. We've both been guests, but duh.
And Dan's been on with us before too.
We have. Absolutely.
But we should revisit that.
Everybody should talk to about that, because understand, guys, there are specific rules where, and I just saw this, like what Ryan is saying.
Absolutely.
If you tell somebody this is when you show up,
or they use your truck, you're
going to use my equipment, or you're going to clock in at this time, or a subcontractor is truly a subcontractor. And yes, like the previous commenter said, you could have an employment contract with them where, you got to do this and this and this. But now if they're using your stuff and you're setting goals for them using your things, now are they an employee or are they a subcontractor? And I don't want to get into that to that.
And there's really a fine line there too. I'm just going to throw a different angle at it, right? Let's say it's a house being remodeled, right? And that house being remodeled, you are the contractor, and you have to have sheetrock put up. Okay. So can you have sheetrock there for them so they don't have to go out and get it? Okay. Yeah. You probably can have the sheetrock there. Can you have the mud there? Yeah. Now, can you have the tools to apply that sheetrock? No, you cannot. can they use, your trowels? Can they use your drills? No, they
Can
can't.
they use your scaffolding, or can they? Yeah.
Your extension cords, your this kind of stuff. You know what? The scaffolding is actually a really good point, because that would be a questionable item to me, where the contractor has the scaffolding on site, but and they're using it, so they're using your tools. That doesn't really, in my mind's eye, doesn't make you an employee. But those are the fine lines that you have to watch when dealing with this, and that's why, if you're in those situations, it is really good to talk to a good tax accountant person, because the rules are very, very strict and very, very straightforward. That they can't be using your tools. You can't be telling them what time to show up. You can't. There's so much that you can't do, otherwise they become an employee.
Now, so the question is question more about 1099s and workman's comp. Are you required to have it on them because they are subcontractors, Louisiana here? I'm going to answer this. That is really, technically, a subcontractor should have his own workers' comp insurance. Now, there's something called a ghost policy out there that a lot of contractors being us, damn it, still can't do that on the backwards camera, us, where we would
always opposite, Ray. You're like, I can do
include someone on there, or have a ghost policy that we pay for, but it says it covers them, but it doesn't necessarily cover them. But yeah, they need to be well, I guess it really depends on.
There's no depends on that, though.
And technically, that's up to you. As I'm thinking about this again,
there is no question there.
I mean, if
you can't provide workers' comp for them, because then they become employees
for them. But if your customer says you have to have workers' comp and all your subs have it, you could technically have a ghost policy for that, Doug. But you know what?
But you're not. Yeah.
How about this? And I'm going to go back 14 years ago. My first job that I ever did at my largest, best contract, and I subcontracted it. And the guy said, I need a copy of your workers' comp. And I handed him and I said, well, I didn't have workers' comp. I had workers' comp exemption. He's like, oh, well, that's not good enough. But don't worry, I'll just take it out of what I charged you.
Right.
And he took I want to say about a 6-7% deduction out of what he owed me. He just put it on his and took it out of it. So he absolutely 100% put it on his and charged me back for it. I'm sure he probably made a little money on it too.
So there are like, as an example, in most instances of where you work on something like that, if the company says you have to have a $1 million policy, okay, that transfers through to every sub that you have. They must have as a bare minimum what you have or greater. Okay, so that's kind of the way it flows through on that. So subs should have all insurances. Absolutely. Yeah. The ghost policy will cost them that you, the owner, and the property owner are not responsible. It's about $1,800.
And let's go in here and start looking, because we got a lot of great comments. Yeah. So Sean Day, hold on. There's a number here. Yeah, God, there has been so many comments. Crap. So how about this? And I'm going back up in the comments, guys. Sorry, it's the interface. So, okay, call it do each other, and how if they're using your equipment, they're not 1099, 100%. If you have to wear your company shirts, they're not 1099, 100%. Uber, Amazon, damn near every truck driver, 1099 is so abused today in your life. It's kind of a pending court case on the subject. It's still cheaper. FedEx got a home delivery, lost the court case, and are still using 1099s. I would agree with that. If you're not, what Scott say, if you're not certain on a rule, get the correct answer from a qualified source.
Absolutely.
Everyone needs to have a laborer crawl up your ass. Guys,
And Scott, how many subcontractors do you guys use? 'Cause
And again,
Scott's got a big
this is what I want to say, guys. If y'all don't know Scott, there is nobody I would trust more on labor, on business, on building businesses, on taking over businesses, on 1099s, on anything than Scott. I don't think y'all realize what an asset Scott is.
Mhm.
Basically, if Scott told me the sun wasn't rising tomorrow, I probably would sleep in. And that's how much I trust Scott. If you tell them when you have to work, they're not 1099.
Yep.
Yeah. You know, I've been a 1099 in my younger years. And of course, I use it. And you know what? And again,
And it used to flow fine.
eh,
Then everybody started abusing it, and the crackdown started happening.
exactly. You know what? I'll tell you what. You want touchdown Steelers?
Touchdown Steelers.
Oh wait, you're a Pennsylvania guy, so
Mhm.
the guys, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna make it real easy for you. If it's more than $600, there's your problem right there.
Yeah.
Because if it's more than $600, you better not only is you have a problem with a 1099 at this point. Now you, as the guy who's contracting the 1099 guy, you better report it yourself, or
Yeah.
you cannot.
$600 a year. If my son comes to work for me in my shop and I pay him more than $600 a year, I got to report all that. Okay. And that's something else that you have to consider, is that who reports to the IRS for a 1099 employee?
Yep.
Both of you do.
Yeah.
Right.
Bingo.
So you have to report, if you're the one hiring, you have to report the 1099 worker, and the guy that did the job has to report his earnings as from the 1099 that you provide him, right? So both of you have to report, and
Right.
that's how the IRS is, I think, probably
It was such a pain. That was a rule that was changed around what 2017 or so. It was during the Obama era, and it caused us such a gigantic, maybe before then, but it caused us such a pain, because next thing you know, it's like anybody that did more than $600 to work for us, we had to send them a 1099.
Yeah.
I remember Tanya fussing and screaming and yelling about this. It's like, you have no idea how much more paperwork this made for us, during these years.
Hence the receding hairlines.
We're seeing stacks of 1099s like this that we would get in throughout the year.
Think of it this way. I mean, as Cajun Soft Wash, when I was operating, I would get 1099s every year, in the mail from all the different companies that we work for.
That you washed for, yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, man, I got to sit there and wait
The
for all
bigger
these
companies that did it
1099s,
right, they would send you 1099s, if it was more than $600.
And then we had to go back and verify what they sent us and make sure that's correct, so that our reporting is the same as their reporting. And I mean, it's
if I hire another company to help me with my project, do I need to require them and their employees to have workers' comp insurance? If not, and something happened, would it fall on me? Yes.
So that's what we were just kind of talking about too, where, I mean, it is going to depend on the contract if there's a requirement for it, but you should absolutely require them to have at least what you have or better than what you have in their own insurance, because they're not employees. They're their own contractors. Basically, the way I guess I would look at it is, if you're basically the building owner hiring them to do a job, even though that's not the way it is, right? That's kind of the mindset you should go in with, to say, show me your insurance, show me your commercial liability insurance, show me your general liability insurance, show me your workers' comp, show me your tools, make sure you got the equipment to do the job. If you guys are going to partner up and do work together, okay, that's great, but you should still define who does what. I just had a conversation with Landon about him splitting a job with somebody else, and it should be defined this is your work. This is my work. We're completely separate entities. When that person
Getting
pays,
paid for what?
they can pay either or. They pay both.
You realize, okay, so if let's say there's a $10,000 job. This is going totally off the cuff here, but a $10,000 job, and somebody contracts with somebody for $5,000 worth of subcontract stuff, right? So, and I'm just pulling this number off because you and I haven't talked about this, but if it's a $10,000 job, now who's going to pay the taxes on that $10,000? Do I submit an invoice in there that I have paid $5,000 out as a 1099 subcontractor on there? Well, I better damn well do that. If not, I'm going to be paying 28, 35%.
I'm going to pay the tax on it.
Of that whole $10,000. So now I better get a dang 1099 for these people, or I'm making not nearly as much.
And this is where this comment goes right hand in hand with that. If you 1099 guys long enough and you're not supposed to and get caught, you could be liable for years of unpaid matched taxes on their labor. Sounds like fun. So here's the thing on that, right? Everybody can sit there and say, you know, Ray and I, we've been friends for a long time. You know, Ray, nothing's ever going to happen. So we can just, we don't have, let's not worry about the formalities and all that kind of stuff. And then for some reason, I had that, cocaine problem when I left the cocaine in the White House. Yep. And I didn't leave. I didn't do that. Okay. So if I left the cocaine in the White House, I've got this big problem right now. The IRS comes after me because I haven't been paying my taxes. And I'm looking at devastation. And I say, well, I've been an employee with Ray for all this time. Yep. I didn't know he wasn't paying taxes. Guess what? Now it becomes a he said, she said kind of a scenario, because a good friend of mine once told me, friendship goes a long ways, but as soon as you throw money into it, bless you, as soon as you throw money into it, especially a lot of money, it changes people. So you need to keep that in mind, that even though people can, don't mean to, if they get into a bad situation, they could do something they weren't planning to do, right, or they kind of get forced into it, because of the way the government's pushing on
money changes people, Doug. Either the lack of or the surplus of. It will definitely change people, And as Scott said earlier, one of the comments that just went, they should all have insurance and they should all be reported. They should all be paying taxes,
Exactly.
1099 employees must have workers' comp. If they don't, they get hurt on the job, they can sue you. Yep. All the subs should have. Yeah. I mean, guys, and this is own policy, and here Scott's going an additional, list you as an additional insured.
Yeah. That's actually a really good point too, to make sure that they're doing it.
About what is an additional insured.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And most of the time, having somebody listed as an additional insured doesn't even cost you any money. It costs you a phone call.
Scott said the same comment earlier. If you don't have it in written, you have nothing, Yeah. Yeah. A couple of W-2 employees. Yes, you are. Yeah. I mean, and guys,
it really is. There is no easy line there.
There's nothing wrong with having 1099 employees. I mean, we did it all the time. We sent, and people used to get so aggravated with Tanya, as I said earlier, like, Tanya, I would hear Tanya, no, and Tanya's so, hell, even nowadays, Tanya's like, I'm not paying him until he gets my 1099, it is what it is, guys. I mean, but there's guys, I don't need to get him. Yeah, you do, You painted my building you painted the interior for more than $600. You're getting a freaking 1099,
Yep, that's it.
All right, I don't even know who this is, but no, that's Z.
That's got to be a local washer, right?
Gotta be.
Somebody that came into the shop and did some work for you.
Why are they saying our pronouns here? 1,000%. As a business owner, we have to protect the homeowner. If the subs get hurt, don't have insurance, a homeowner or a business owner can be sued and lose everything. Because y'all realize, guys, that workers' comp wasn't designed to help you as a business owner. Workers' comp was designed really to help the homeowners who, when a business owner or one of their employees fell off a ladder, the homeowner wasn't getting sued because you were negligent.
Yeah, and that's the same thing where Scott's saying, I'm going to hit his. If an accident is bad enough, everyone is getting sued. So buckle up and get them damn insurance papers.
I'm right.
That's just it. If you operate your business like a business, all right, here comes the real world advice, right? If you operate your business like a business, none of these questions should necessarily matter to you, right? Because you have the proper insurance, you're doing things correctly, and you don't necessarily have to worry so much. You have an umbrella policy, all these kinds of things that are going to help and protect you through that kind of thing. Because I guarantee you, and this is something I got some knowledge in, ladies and gentlemen, and that is people can sue you for nothing. Right? And they can drag it out for what? 3 years, 3 years and growing. So there are definitely things out there that are, make sure you got your ducks in a row. And, I can't tell you, I mean, how many times, Ray, do we talk about run your business like a business, build your business for tomorrow, not today?
Oh my God, but.
And what is SH?
Bat Masterson is such a great guy. He has a show and he has heck, he does a conference every year. He couldn't be a bad guy. He'd never F me on a deal. Get a contract, guys. I'm serious. And you know what? Good fences make good neighbors. Like Scott does. And Scott, seriously, right here, if you think a labor board is bad, and Florida doesn't really even have labor boards as much, get on the IRS's radar. Yeah, because you get on the radar, you never get off of their radar. And all this takes is for one guy to call you. So one guy that gets screwed or pissed off or whatever and goes, you know what? He withheld or oh my God, what do you mean? Hold on. I did a $20,000 job for this guy, and now you're wanting 30% of that money from me? That's bullcrap, man. Now all of a sudden you're on the radar.
Let me tell you a story too. When it comes to the IRS, they don't care much, right? So here's the story. I knew somebody that they had a business. The business went under. And with that, they filed bankruptcy. And they thought, okay, well, bankruptcy takes care of everything, IRS debts and everything else, which it does not. And so they went on and they got a regular job. After that, they paid their taxes every year. They got refunds back and all this kind of stuff. 7 years, almost to the day, the IRS comes back and freezes that person's account. And they're like, wait a minute here. Because they were building up taxes, penalties, and interest on the money that was owed. And at the time, it was like some nominal amount, $500. 7 years later, it's almost $5,000, right? And you would say, well, that can't be true because if the IRS was giving this person money back every year, okay, but because it was a business entity and these kinds of things, yeah, they were able to do it. And they froze the assets of that person until the money was paid. So the IRS is definitely not one to mess with. And I don't want to go down that road.
I don't want to say they're IRS. I don't want to say anything bad about they're wonderful people. They're amazing.
The IRS is made up of the most compassionate and most heartwarming people you have ever met. And I love the IRS and the people that work there.
I saw one literally rescue a kitten out of a storm drain the other day.
Wasn't that so wonderful of him?
It was very hard. Kick subs when you have painting company. If you don't have it, you weren't working. Yeah. No, I mean, guys, let me be completely honest here. And this is going to be Doug, you don't realize this, but this is going to be a topic for one of our, now with Tanya, because literally 15 minutes before I came online, I was out washing Tanya's Tiki's truck. our tiki truck, y'all guys that don't realize this, Tanya and I now own a Hawaiian shaved ice truck. I don't know how it happened. I'll tell you how it happened. I'm going to tell you exactly
how it happened.
Here's how it happened. Because I love my contractors, I bought an ice machine for Power Wash Store Tallahassee, because I know contractors need ice and most of them don't own ice machines like I used to own at Spray Wash. So I said, gosh, here's a hallmark of Power Wash Store Tallahassee. I'm going to have an ice machine for contractors to come in and get their own ice. So fast forward a year, I realized we never use this ice. What could we use? Because maybe somebody comes in and gets like 20 pounds, like contractors come in, maybe 20 pounds a day, 30 pounds a day. I've got 400 pounds of ice, literally 400 pounds of ice. What am I going to do with it?
Start an ice truck.
Let's do a Hawaiian shaped ice truck. Let's do it. So we wind up buying a Hawaiian shaved ice truck. So that's now, and Tanya winds up leaving Crystal Clean as general manager there. We now own the Tiki's franchise for our area because I had the foresight to buy an ice machine. But I want to do this. I want to do an upcoming show on the difference or the similarities between a pressure washing company and a shaved ice company. And I'm going to give y'all a little secret here. It's about the business, understanding the business, understanding the business acumen of this, Doug, because y'all know what? Excuse me. As much as we sit here and y'all know how y'all go to pressure washing friends, which I don't, and we fuss about the dumb questions, or we go to these various forums out there and we say, oh my God, how not Spray Wash Academy being the difference of that. Mm-hmm. But how could somebody ask such a stupid question? The same things. Now, I'm a member of a lot of shaved ice snow cone groups too. Yes. Same things there. And here's where we are, Doug, why I even bring this up. And we need to have it. We need to have this discussion one night, because you have to understand business in this industry. If you're getting in, I don't care if you're selling snow cones, you're pressure washing houses, you're painting houses, you're putting on roofs, you're cleaning out dryer vents. The most important thing any person here could understand is business. Mm-hmm. There's guys here on, and again, I'm not going to get too deep onto it. They want to sit there and talk about, just like the pressure washing wonks that are out here going, well, yeah, I've used a Snowy 3000 and it doesn't shave my ice quite as well as a Kamasatsu 2000, which really, does a much finer shave on the ice. And I really prefer, you know what? You're the same, Rolf, that sits there and talks about, well, I had 100 PSI pressure drop on 150 foot of hose using a GP downstreamer versus using a super sud sucker downstreamer. You know what? Your house doesn't care. Nobody cares except for you, because you're an equipment wonk. Mm-hmm. The goal is to get the crap washed. The goal is to serve a certain amount of snow cones or Hawaiian shaved.
So much ice in a cup. That's it.
Bingo. Here, here, here.
Yep.
Same thing with the price, because I guarantee you,
it's all about service. That's why they call it a service business.
Bingo. Any one of those guys that you talk to that can tell you the exact pressure drop for every 50 foot of feet on a pressure hose probably ain't doing that much business. Same thing about the guy that can tell you the difference in yield between a 10 ounce and an 11 ounce snow cone. So guys, understand business and understand marketing and understand the basic laws out there. That's what's important. You guys have to understand this part.
Well, and that's where I would go with this one. So in Facebook user, I wish I knew who this was. It says you could technically rent your equipment, have an insurance policy they pay for, and pay a percentage of the job. Pay them to wear your uniforms. However, you best have your paperwork in order and provide zero training. Now, I could see the whole renting them equipment. They could rent equipment from you. Okay, I could see that argument as long as there's a contract in place for them to rent the equipment. Have an insurance policy that they pay for. I think you might be, again, this is where you want to check with your professional, right? Because I don't think that would fly. And I also don't think them wearing your uniform is going to fly as them not being employees, right?
I think there's a question on that.
Absolutely. So once they put your uniform on, we were just having this discussion with somebody else who the contractor was asking him to put the contractor's magnetic sign on the truck, have him wear his shirt and his hat and all that kind of stuff. I think that then twists things into a employee relationship versus a subcontractor type relationship. So I'd be really, really careful in doing something like that. And then what Tom is saying, they say you, the ladder maker, the pressure washing equipment manufacturer, the order taker from McDonald's that day, and so on. They do. They sue just everybody that's involved.
Yeah. It's who has the deepest pockets.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of times, lawsuits aren't even about that, right? They go after everybody because they know that, okay, Ray doesn't have the deep pockets. And so we push at him a little bit and he just writes a check for $5,000, which covers more of our cost to going after, the next guy. Doug doesn't have very deep pockets. So we pressure him. He just cuts a check for $5,000 because he can't afford the $50,000.
Like James just said, FedEx Ground does it every day. Exactly. Mm-hmm. But who's going to go and fight FedEx on that? Therein, Scott says that'll never fly if you go to court. When you fight people with real attorneys, they'll eat you alive.
Eat you alive. Yep, absolutely.
As someone that's involved in a couple of court cases right here, understand, guys, I'm dealing with two different attorneys right now, and they're literally suing pressure washing companies. And it becomes down to the minutia of it going, well, this court case is $400,000. If we only get a judgment of $200,000 and we spend $100,000 in experts and testimonies, we consider that a win.
Right.
That's how the legal battle goes. So now if we're at $300,000 lawsuit, and all of a sudden our costs keep going up. Now we're at 420. Settle. We're gonna break and not keep going that.
I'll even go one further on a lot of those. It just turns out to be what's the potential, right? So the biggest potential, even though you have the evidence on your side, right? You never know what a jury is going to do nowadays.
That's true. Oh,
that's where the problem is.
I heard that. I hadn't heard this comment. I had this discussion with an attorney that I may or may not be involved with, who said literally, he's like, one of my best advice I ever got was never let it go to a jury. Never let anything go to a jury. And that's because that was why I was asking him. I was like, this is pretty cut and dry,
Yeah, we had one where it went to a jury that this was on something completely different, unrelated to wash industry, wasn't being sued, that kind of thing. It was a civil case against somebody else, and the jury cited it for that person. And that was just because the prosecutor did a bad job. And it's just the way it is.
Sorry.
I don't want to get rid of that one. I don't even care about that. Student loans and the IRS don't go away. I think that's I think that's been disproven.
Truism as I've ever heard. So
yeah. All right. I'm Australian toilets flush backwards.
Oh,
Just
God.
don't use my real name. So write up a contract to set
funny.
expectations.
I know
Have
who this
liability
is.
insurance equal to the contractor. There you go.
Yep, absolutely. 100%. I know who that is. I love that guy.
Yeah. Is that who I think it is?
No, you've
No?
never had a discussion about him whatsoever.
Uh-huh. Mitch Wood, we all love in IRS agents.
Oh, Lordy.
I know it, right?
This is one of those topics we could keep going on because
whoa. Look at that comment. No, come on now.
Wow.
How is that even
Wow.
remotely
Tommy Tuna,
Ah,
you were off my island.
yeah, you are. I can't. You've left me speechless. How often does that happen? Yeah. I know you're laughing, but it ain't funny, buddy.
Them fighting words, damn it.
Them's fighting words. Yeah, that's a fact. I am gonna send my wife to kick your. Yeah. She'll do
Here's
it.
a question.
Don't forget, my wife is and this is a factual thing. My wife is the world BJJ champion for her age and weight division. My wife is the
BJJ
world
is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. She is the world champion for her weight and age division.
So would you
she just got the title in Las Vegas.
business together? Like, I can't consider opening a washing business for what month is it?
This is one of 3 people, I think. I don't know who this is, but this is one of 3 people.
I cannot consider opening a washing business for another 7 months, 13 days, and 12 hours. So I can't really answer that question. Not that I've ever thought of it.
Yeah. Okay. Let's Alrighty there. I had a lemonade truck this past year and agree with you 100%. You're selling yourself and providing a product. Scott says it's about margins. Know your business, know your tax, know your max, know your business and how to max your margins. The rest of the drama is just bullshit.
It's true. And but Doug, you remember that year in Branson, you went and did that class for me. Yeah, we had the issue happen. I had to leave in Branson.
Right.
You and Rob did the class for me. And it was, and this was 5 years ago, where we're talking about $100,000, the $100,000 wash company, which at that point was still a big number before Bidenomics, and we had the Great Reset. And now we said, God, we all, because at that point 5 years ago, we're like, how can we have a $100,000 wash company? Now we need a $200,000 wash company. Well, I just did that same class back in Australia a few months ago. And it's funny because I was sitting there and I hadn't seen that class in a couple of years, but now we go, well, wow, because I realized I had put in there and I actually cut back that 38% because of taxes. So we wanted to go and say $100,000. I want to make $100,000 a year. Well, no. And you actually need to make 138,000 or 135,000 or 125,000, whatever your tax bracket is. So part of what Scott's saying right here, you need to add your taxes back to it. Understand your margins, and your margins include your taxes, guys.
Absolutely.
100%, Oh, is BB watching us? I haven't seen BB. I miss BB. I just don't get into Facebook. I don't follow the lives like I used to. I used to always watch BB's lives out there. I love BB Herman.
Yeah. There we go. Now I'm back. I hit a tab and I was off base there. Sorry about that. Let's see. Where are we at in the comments?
Now, that was Tanya's butterfly marketing. Yeah. This is the true rifle and fishing pole.
I don't know where you're at.
Oh, oh, good stuff. You know, Doug, I hate that we missed this last week. I truly enjoy this. And what was we were supposed to do?
I was in Connecticut. Well, no, actually, I was supposed to be in Connecticut, but I had and I was Monday evening. I was in Connecticut, but I had just gotten in based on my flight being delayed. I was supposed to fly out Sunday, start my class on Monday, but I didn't. The some weather or something. They canceled our flight on Sunday. Had to fly in on Monday. Started the training actually on Tuesday, so really wasn't able to do last Monday. You were wrapped up last Monday, so it just didn't happen. And
you guys realize if y'all have any topics that you want us to talk about, and I don't want to sound arrogant, jerkish at all about this, but Doug and I, we've been doing this for what, 5 years now or so, Doug. I mean, a while. I mean, hell, we were doing independent things on Facebook before we even started talking, maybe even longer than 7 years or so. I see videos pop up on Facebook every now and then. It's like, oh, I should record that. If y'all ever want us to do a topic on something, reach out to us.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
chances are, and I don't mean this to sound arrogant,
if we don't have it, we know it. I mean, we know somebody that does it.
We dealt with it before,
yeah.
You know, and there it is, you know.
How long have you been in business, Ray? Right? Forget about just washing, but how long have you been in business? Because before this, you did real estate and other stuff. So
honestly, I had a job for maybe 2 years. I had a title company that hired me to be a professional trainer for them. Back during the real estate boom or the whole silicone boom thing. And they offered me stupid money whenever the whole .com thing was going on. And that was right about the point that I was getting married. And I left real estate for a little while to go to work for them. And I went back to real estate. So I've always been self-employed, Doug.
See, that's the thing. I actually did have jobs when I was younger. But since 1992, I've pretty much been self-employed. Now, I did have a couple of jobs since then, and that's kind of why I've always kind of felt like I'm unemployable, right? Because I've been self-employed for so long, and the jobs that I've tried in the past, they either, you know, they ask you to lie, cheat, or steal from somebody. It's something I just simply won't do, and you know, I hold myself to a certain moral and ethical standard, and the companies generally don't. And so therefore it's not worth it. But my point in that is that, you know, I've got over 30 years as a self-employed person, as a business person. And I mean, self-employed isn't really even the right way to go. I've been in business. I've been doing business, right, for a very long time. And it's the same thing. Like my son has asked me, well, Dad, how do you know that? Or I can't remember what he just asked me recently. It was an acronym. Oh, what was it? Something about returning documents, returning stuff. And he goes, Dad, do you know what like CRS stands for? And I'm like, yeah, customer return system or whatever it was. I don't remember what it was. And he's like, I hate how you just know that.
Yeah.
You know? It's like, yeah, I've been around for a long time.
Hold on, there's a question here, Doug. Raising prices, and take what will America bear? Yeah, 100%. You got to understand that. You got to figure that out.
I think that was a suggestion by Mike.
Touch on temporary help is withholding credit or 600. No, actually, 1099s aren't required under 600. Under $600, you do not have to do a 1099. You don't have to send them out. The minute it gets 600, you have to send a 1099 out.
All right. Sorry, I was writing down what Michael had asked for. So
I love that. Can't remember CRS. Can't remember shit. Yeah, that's what my CRS program is for. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we both, you know, business is business is that's why I would love to sit here and, because this is on the Spray Wash channel. I don't think people on the I would love to do this from the office where I have the two screens and share like I have here, because I don't think the people from the you guys would be amazed. Like, I'm trying to describe this. From what I see on the Facebook shaved ice snow cone channels is exactly the same as what I see on the, I'm trying to be an asshole here, pressure washing friends, pressure washing business owners, anything but Spray Wash Academy. The dumbest questions ever.
Some of it is pretty stupid.
No. Stupid. I mean, I'm talking about like, well, how many ounces of syrup do I use for a snow cone? Well, you fucking make a snow cone and you pour ounces on. I mean, literally,
Until it comes out.
Until it's full, and you go, oh wow, that's full. But like that kind of thing, or who has the cheapest prices for 12-ounce cups?
Who cares?
That kind of stuff. It's like, if I can explain it to you, it's the same thing. Like, you go into these forums, it's the same thing as going
I can see it.
You have experts, and it's the same thing as going to pressure washing friends, where you have every freaking moron in the world who's answering your questions. So that's why it's so important.
Tom is giving me a bad vision.
Guys, it's just so important. Just God knows it, and understand business.
So this thing with Tom has got me. I don't know if I'm going to say it or not. I want to go back to that, Ray. So it says, Ray, I want to start a tiki shave ice truck, but mine would have to be armored with Chicago climate. Can you actually imagine that, though? The red stuff isn't coming out of the icy machine. Oh, that one's not. No, we there was a shooting here yesterday. That's not syrup. Oops. Yeah.
That, or you literally have like an armored door that they have to like slide it out of in the Chicago. It's like, bam.
Yeah.
But here it is, Scott. What happens when I don't plug it in? It doesn't fucking work. That's what happens. It doesn't fucking work.
What is SH?
Yeah.
What is this plug for? It's not. It doesn't go into anything. But my ice machine isn't working.
Hold on. I want, Doug, and I want to one more time say, my wife is texting me. Oh, I can hear you all the way back to to the bedroom. Apparently our house isn't big enough. I'm gonna add a wing on.
She's clear at the other end, dude.
My wife stalks me from 3,000 feet away. Great.
There you go.
Guys, understand, if y'all have listened to this podcast, seek legal advice. This is the advice from two business owners who have successfully sold their business and now have other businesses.
Scott.
Stop you.
Yeah.
Wrote it on. Guys, understand, this is not legal advice. This is not, we're telling you to do this. Talk to your CPA, talk to your tax advisor.
Yep.
Talk to someone that is qualified. We are just two dumbasses that happen to, we're lucky sperm that happen to sell businesses, that we live the American dream. Literally, like we were dodos that I'm going to buy a Home Depot pressure washer and try to go out, and we built multi-million-dollar businesses. We're lucky.
Yep.
We are not experts. If you want to follow us for business advice, I'll tell you what, business advice, can I do it?
You're getting it.
Oh, yes, I did. I got it. Yes. We're experts.
So Scott, I don't know what's happening. Scott's saying that my interface sucks. Not sure what's
I would
happening.
say your face sucks too.
Yeah. My interface. How does my outer face look?
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. It might be that my computer is super old. Getting there, I've been trying to get another one, and I just don't like what's out there. I've got another brand new one sitting right beside me that I'm not using, and I'm going to send it back because it'll be the second brand new computer that I've sent back. I just don't like them. Sue me.
Oh, bless it.
Don't sue me. I've been sued enough. Mr. Manny.
Trials and tribulations. Absolutely.
Yeah,
You know
absolutely.
what? Well, Doug.
Interface. All right.
Well,
This
all right.
conversation seems to be headed back to the White House.
Yeah, it does.
Anyhow, appreciate y'all for listening to us, and we will see you
Thank
next
you guys
week.
for hanging out. Appreciate you. See ya.